Right, so apologies to the straight shooters, but I'm gonna start this off with a brain teaser. So this video is very much like another video I made quite a while back, that would be this one, but with one big difference. I'm not telling you what it is, but just saying the clues are there. All the best. 7 best versions of Lionel Messi. Here's the criteria, let's roll up. Number 7, 16-17. Perhaps due to a combination of his career rival lifting the UCL as well as little collective success for Barcelona, this is a very underrated individual season for Messi. Like I've said this before, but if you only want to talk statistics, Leo was way far ahead of anyone that season, and while that may not be everything, considering just how consistent he was with his numbers, this was far ahead of other more glorified campaigns he's had, that's for sure. Memorable moments: smashing in a hat-trick and a total of 4 goal contributions in Barca's 7-0 win over Celtic, banging in another hat-trick / 4 goal contributions against Pep City in his return from injury, that moment versus Real Madrid, the run from October to April where he had at least 1 goal contribution in every single league game he played in, the remontada against PSG although he didn't really do all that much, as well as scoring the opener in the Copa del Rey final. Number 6, 08-09. Another hugely underrated Messi season, but best believe this time it has nothing to do with the lack of silverware. Bro, these man won the sextuple. How have I never said this word before in my life and now have said it in 2 videos in a row during Ramadan? Life is shaitan, fam. But yes, this season is instead underrated due to Leo's stats not matching up to the crazy campaigns he went on to have not long after. But for almost literally the 1000th time, that's not everything. Because while most of his greatest years were partly a result of every other member of his team grinding it out so he could shine, here Leo was simply the best player in an elite team. They played for no one, but they played better than everyone. This was not only the greatest team he's ever played in, but arguably the greatest club side we've ever seen. And when it comes to judging according to the criteria, and when it comes to being the main man in the best team in the world, this was undoubtedly one of the great man's greatest campaigns. Memorable moments: scoring what was basically the winner in the Copa del Rey final, running rampant against Bayern in a brilliant all-round performance in the UCL quarters, a game which a young Thomas Müller watched extra eagerly and apparently took extra personally, the away classical where he and Henry basically turned the Bernabeu into their back garden for a night, and of course, rising high and heading home in the UCL final. Which reminds me, this guy also slapped up Sporting that year as well, meaning he basically handled all 3 of CR7's favourite clubs. No wonder he ran to Spain immediately after this. It was on, fam. Number 5, 18-19. And we move on from 2 of his most underrated seasons to easily his most overrated season. And look, I've literally made an entire video on why this was nowhere near as good as many believe it to be. Do check it out. But as I said many times, including in that video, this does not change the fact that Messi in 2018-2019 was undoubtedly world class. This was both his greatest season post MSN and his greatest season post 30 years of age, leading a very solid but, comparative to previous years, a weaker Barca side to a comfortable league title. And despite assuming more of a creative role following Iniesta's exit, and hence really leaning into his patented lob to the overlapping fullback, how can we not, Leo still managed to top his goal scoring too from the previous campaign, on top of providing us with the same magic that we'd by now basically had become accustomed to for years. Though now, as a result of the miles on him, we saw less of the breathtaking acceleration to get past opponents and more of him actually tussling and brushing off challenges with his by now considerable body strength, eventually trying to play the final ball through. Memorable moments: another one of those mental runs he went on in the league where he scored or assisted in 11 straight games from November to Feb, destroying Manchester United in the return leg to secure a place in the semis, scoring one of, if not the greatest free kick of his career against Liverpool in the first leg of the semis, and lifting his very first trophy as the permanent Barca captain. Number 4, 12-13. Right, so despite what I said about the first 2 entries on here, if you ask most of Messi FC, they'd probably say this is the most underrated Messi season. But here's why I don't believe that. Like, you do realize we've been consistently hearing about Messi's magical 2012 where he scored 91 flipping goals in a calendar year ever since it happened. And spoilers, you're not done hearing about it in this video either. But yeah, that's partly my point. When you break down Messi's 2012 in seasons, well, part of it was 12-13. So, can it really be underrated? Well, not to me. But I tell you what it was though, whether it was to me or anyone else, it was still madness. And you know what, here's something else. While I don't believe Messi was underrated that season, I'll tell you who was: the late Tito Villanova. As following the exit of one of Barca's greatest managers ever, Tito took over the reins, somehow put an even bigger emphasis on La Masia, and took Barcelona to a record equaling 100 points. All with Messi as his main man and centre forward in one of the very few seasons in Leo's career where he was solely left to focus on end product, which personally for me, I believe is when he is at his best. Again, more on that later. Wink wink. Memorable moments: that now famous classical where he split 4 goals with CR7, very symbolic of that era. Another so crazy it's hilarious run from November and December where he scored 2 goals in 6 league games in a row. What the flip, man. Putting in a stellar all-round performance where he banged the brace as Barca came back from a first leg defeat against AC Milan, and my personal favourite, bouncing back himself from the double whammy of muscle injuries and getting destroyed by Bayern Munich by scoring one of the greatest goals of his career against Athletic Bilbao. Number 3, 10-11, aka the year Messi played like his fanboys believe he's played every single season in his entire career, dribbling past anyone and everyone who dare come within a 2-block radius of him, showcasing Maradona-like dribbling, Haaland-like prolificness, and CR7-like mentality, basically all at once, and showcasing it all even in the big games. This was the season where the footballing world seriously stood up and said, you know what, we might actually be looking at the GOAT. Which is even crazier when considering that he was only a year older than Pedri is now. This was special. Memorable moments? Well, again, the big games. Be it destroying Atletico Madrid both home and away, hat-trick at home and a goal and an assist each away, destroying Real Madrid in 3 out of the mental 5 games he played against them that season, a false 9 playmaking masterclass at the home league game, a brilliant all-round display in the away league game, and one no doubt most if not all of you have seen, a sensational winner in the UCL semis. But he wasn't done there though. Nope. Because after handling multiple beatings to Ronnie's current home, his final target was the poor guy's previous home, as Messi and, to be fair, the entire Barca side that day ran rings around Manchester United at Wembley Stadium. Number 2, 11-12. It's getting harder and harder not to swear, I'm not gonna lie. Like, what the fuck was this? Like, bro, was this even legal? Yeah, shout out. I don't care if most of his goals were inside the box or whatever, but 82 goals and 30 something assists in 69 games for club and country. Like, no, I literally don't know what to say except alien. Memorable moments? Well, funnily enough, not much. Well, maybe the game where he scored 5 goals. And the hat-trick against Brazil in the friendly wasn't bad either, was it? But yeah, you see, the thing is, other than those limited examples, he didn't really have many of those legendary moments or so to say in 2011-2012. And won't lie, his influence was pretty minimal against the big sides. In fact, the most memorable singular moment might actually be him falling to Czech's wobbly legs. And yeah, while anyone who's watched any of my ranking videos would know just how much emphasis I put on the big games, when the numbers are so crazy that it actually makes you question life, believe me, it can be excused. Number 1, 14-15, the greatest example of pure football we've ever seen. He dribbled like the distinctive diminutive demon that daunted defenders but delighted the diehards to deafening roars in the decade that preceded this. His physicality was probably at a peak as he'd matured and gotten a lot stronger than he was in his formative years. He began to showcase more of his creative chops following the arrival of Luis Suarez, resulting in him eventually being shifted back out to the right. And let's not forget, he also had a treble to show for it at the end of it all. Memorable moments? Getting to the UCL record before Ronaldo, the Nutmeg Gate versus Man City, the humiliation of Jerome Boateng versus Bayern Munich, the actually very solid performance in the Champions League final that gets overlooked because he didn't score, and this. Just this. No matter how many times I watch it, I'm mesmerized all the same. Wow. A legend of the game, an icon throughout the world, a unique gift to football, and undoubtedly one of the all-time greats. And that is that. Agree or disagree beats indifference. So what do you think of this list? Are there any other Messi seasons that deserve to be on here that I've missed out? Let me know in the comments below. And as usual, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Till next time, you keep rolling.